back to Country Basket Weaving. I'm your hostess, Sandy Atkinson. The basket we'll be working on today is our wine tote. The cut and material pattern is as follows. You will need 5/8 inch flat, cut 6 pieces 28 inches long, 5 pieces 32 inches long, and 1 piece 60 inches for your handle. You'll also need some 3/8 inch flat. Take and cut 4 pieces 16 inches long. You'll need some more 3/8 inch flat for our weavers. You'll need some 1/4 inch or 3/16 inch flat. You'll need some 5/8 inch flat oval, 1/2 inch flat oval, 3 millimeter caning, and some Scandi straw. To get started on our pattern today, I already have mine cut. I have the centers marked on the wrong side. I'm going to take my 5 32 inch pieces and I'm going to lay out with the wrong side facing up my pieces under my spoke weight. Then I'm going to lay out one of my 16 inch pieces. Alternate these every other one, lining up my centers like so. I'm not going to worry about my spacing quite yet. Slide it underneath your spoke weight. You're going to have your 5/8 inch pieces on the outside. All your small pieces are going to be woven in between. Here we go, like this. Now, line up your centers. Then you're going to need your long handle piece. That's the one you cut at 60 inches. Mark your center. You're going to weave this one starting here on the right over 1, under 3, over 1, under 3, and finally over your 1, and line up your centers here. Go ahead and get your other pieces, take them out of your water. Remember, we need to soak them for a few minutes. This one's going to weave just the opposite of the row I put in, so it'll be over 1, pardon me, under 1, over 3, and finish the weave out. Come over here, the very same thing, under 1, over 3, under 1, over 3, under 1, and line up your centers. Now come in with your 5/8 inch spacer, and this is just a scrap piece I have, and let's do some spacing between our rows here like so. We can draw these pieces in. We'll come back later and do a little bit more spacing. Now we're going to be back on the first weave we did. Every row is opposite of the row before it. I'm going to weave that in. Remember, you're going over and under 1 and then 3. I have one more piece at the top. There'll be a total of 3 pieces on either side of your center handle piece. One more piece down here, opposite pattern. Line up our centers. Now we'll come back in and let's pull these pieces over before we go back and do our spacing. Make sure this handle pieces run across the center. These should lay side by side, not overlapping each other. Let's take off our spoke weight up here. Line them back up. This is really a pretty bottom. It has a different type of bottom for a closed bottom than we've done before. Get everything to line up. Then come in with your 5/8, and we're going to do some more spacing in here. Start up here. This one needs to be slidden back a little too tight. Take your 4 clothespins and we're going to clip off the corners. Clamp off, I should say. Don't cut anything. Okay. Come up here and we're going to upset our basket. But I don't want you to upset these ends here from our 16-inch pieces. Leave them laying flat out. At this point, we're not going to do anything with those pieces. Finish upsetting your basket. Bend them up. If things dry out when you're weaving and you have them out of your water like this, and a spray bottle works good. A sponge works good to re-wet things, to keep them wet. If you don't keep them wet, they will break. Remember to leave those pieces laying down. Upset around. Pin up your 4 corner pieces. We've done this lots before. There. Now we need to go in and get some 3/8 that we're going to use for our weavers. Have some length soaking. This is a long length. I'll get lots of rows out of this piece. Make sure I have my right side facing out. Wrong side faces into the basket. Come here to the side. I like to go back again and pick up the weave from the base. This one was over, so I know this one's under. I bring it across, and we always start on top. That's always important so that we get these rows to come out and hide your ends when you come around. Take off your end pieces and weave around. Be very careful at this point not to pick up these short ends that we have out here. Let them lay flat. Weave the basket over and under. We need to leave our corners on for the first 3 to 4 rows. So come back and pin up your corners. It's going to look very sloppy, don't get alarmed. There's just nothing to hold this row together yet. Leave it over and under. Again, pin up your corner. It looks pretty sloppy, I know. When you get back to where you started, you should be on the same weave as when you started the row. Each row is done individually. It starts and stops. Bring it over here and overlap, and go overlapping at least 4 rows or 4 spokes over. Cut it off and slip that piece under there like that. Use lots of clothespins. I'm going to switch to a basket that I've already got started. Take it up until you get 4 rows in. On the 5th row is when we have some more work to do. I have my 4 rows in. This is where I started. I have my overlap on this side, so I'm going to reverse it and start my overlap on this one. Pack your rows in tight. Make sure your spokes are straight up and down. We're going to start this row here on the wide side and work it around. When I come across here, I'm going to take these 2 end pieces on the left and cross them over each other and catch them underneath this row of weaving. Go one more and do the very same thing over here. Catch those underneath that row of weaving. This really creates a good sturdy bottom here to carry any heavy bottles, so you won't be breaking your reed out. Weave it around. Watch your spokes, keep them straight up and down. Pack each row in tight. Come to the other side, you're going to do the very same thing. Overlap them, weave in, overlap these 2 here, weave them right into your row. Take us over here to this side. We're going to overlap 4 spokes and cut it off and hide that end. I really don't like to see ends hanging out of a basket. Now I'm going to clamp these out of your way so that you can see what I'm doing inside the basket. You don't need to do this when you're making yours. But if I don't do this, I'm afraid you won't be able to see inside here. We'll clamp off the sides. I'm going to leave my handle piece out. That's the one part I am working on inside here. And we'll just get these out of the way. Okay, I'm going to take, and I have a colored piece here, of my 3/16. You could also use 1/4 inch. I'm coming under here, and under that 4th row, underneath that spoke, I'm just slipping that end under there. I'm going to bring this other end around. Let me straighten it up and come to the other end, and I'm going to do the very same thing over here on this side. I'm going to go underneath that spoke, and there we go, and have my end come out and give this a pull. Keep in mind I went to the opposite side, so I will create a figure 8 in here. Okay, now I'm going to take this and just leave it inside the basket, and I'm going to weave one more row. So with your 3/8, we're going to come up here, and I want to unclamp this. I'll need to do that to do this next row. This is where I did my overlap, so I'm going to switch to the other side. I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to weave my next row. We're going to be working back and forth inside the basket. Clamp this over here. I'm going to go behind these pieces here. I'm not going to do anything with my end pieces at this point, just a row behind them. Weave it all the way around. Keep your spokes straight, keep your weavers packed in. Behind my end spokes again. And I'm up here and I'm going to overlap and hide my ends, cut this one off and tuck it under just like we've been doing. Now, go back into the inside. If I can get this out of the way here. And I'm going to take my end and oops, I need to reverse it here. Bring it over to this side. Take my end. Let me clamp these out of the way. There's just no way to do it where you can see inside there if I don't clamp them out of the way. Okay, we're back inside here now. I'm going to take this end, do a figure 8, so I'm going to come from this way, from the left, and I'm going to slide it underneath that spoke, and it's going to rest right there on the weaver. Can you see that? Then I'm going to bring this end around, and I'm going to do the very same thing on the other side. I'm going to slide this under here. And I pulled it too tight. See how it's pulling on this side over here? Come back and adjust it. You want it to be not tight, but not real loose either. Just fit in there nicely, okay? Put it back inside, and we're going to do another row of weaving around. See how that's creating that wall in there for me? We'll get some more of our flat. I have a bad end, so we're going to simply cut that off. I need to reverse it to this side because this is where my overlaps are on the opposite side. Make sure those tuck in under there. And I'm going to weave another row. On this row, also, I'm going to catch the ends at the side of my basket. As I come around here, get my little piece of orange out of there, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to trim off just a hair below where my weaver will come right on top and hide those ends right under there. Okay, pack your rows in. Trim this one off too. We want to hide these ends right now. And we're going to weave this around to the other side. We're going to do the very same thing on the other end. Use your clothespins if you have to. Now we're at the other side. We're going to do the very same thing again. I'm going to come in here and trim these just a hair below. Be real careful you don't cut that spoke off with your scissor tips there. Just a hair shorter. Weave over and catch those ends behind to hide them. And the very same thing again here. And work your way around. Again, we're back to where we overlap. And we're going to hide that end. We're going to go inside the basket. No, we're not. At this point, we're going to go ahead and do one more row so that we're always working that center piece when we're on an outside weave. So we would need to do one more row. And I'll work that center piece for you, and then we'll continue on. Don't forget to reverse your basket so you're starting your overlaps on opposite sides. Weave it around. And we're going to overlap here just like we've been doing. Now we're going to come inside and we're going to do the very same thing again. I'm going to have to come on this side. I'll hold these out of your way so you can see what I'm doing in here. Come in here. Now I'm coming from this way. Remember to be sure and cross them because we want to create that figure 8 inside the basket, and we're laying that just, can you see how I laid it right underneath my spoke? Right on top of my weavers. Come to the other side. Keep these all the same tension inside and do the very same thing on the other side. So you're going to have to put in another row, and then every other row you're going to be working this figure 8 pattern on the inside of your basket. You need to weave up until you're about 8 to 10 inches depending on how high you want it for your particular basket and your needs. And then we're going to switch baskets here. We've already done the tucking and the trimming because we've been over that so many times. Remember that if a weaver comes in front of a spoke, it's going to get cut off. If it goes behind, it's going to get trimmed and it's going to get tucked in here. At this point, we're going to finish up here. And all you do to finish up your center back and forth is simply to take it behind a weaver, behind your spoke, between a weaver, and just trim it off. And it'll rest in there. Your rim is going to catch it also. We're going to go ahead and insert our handles now, starting and take any side, either side, open it up with your screwdriver, and insert this end in here. If you like, you can purchase a handle insert, but I'll show you how to make your own. It works fine on this particular basket. That's what I need my 5/8 flat for. Give yourself a flat end. Come in here and trim some of this off so it won't be so bulky. And then come in here at the sides and trim down your sides here too, just so it'll slip in there easy for you. Go ahead and insert it down in here between your two handle pieces. A couple inches it should go down in there. Run it across the top so we get the same height as the first piece of handle we put in. Come over here and trim this off. Give yourself a couple inches again. You're going to have to whittle this down. Come in here and shave down some of the sides so it'll slide easy for you. And insert that piece right down on the outside. We're going to try to hide it underneath one of our weavers. It's caught on my orange underneath there, so just work it through. Okay, then come up here, take your second handle piece and bring it around, and we're going to just tuck it as far as we can. This one's not going to tuck too far, but that's okay. It's going to be able to be secure in there because of our rim that we're about ready to put on. We need to do our handle wrap next, so we're going to take a piece, and I have some dyed reed here. Give me a flat edge. I'm going to come in here. My right side now is facing the basket. My wrong side is up. I do what I call a miter, which brings the right side of my reed up, and we're going to just butt this up, but not overlapping it. And see how I'm catching that end as we're going? We're going to do 3 or 4 rows here. And then I'm going to do a decorative handle, so I want to add a new piece. We're going to come in here with just a natural colored piece. Make sure I have a flat end on it. I'm going to catch it in here as I do these wraps now. Line it up. Catch that tail in. We need to do a couple more wraps. Actually, about 3 wraps would secure that end in there. And then we're going to do a decorative pattern. The pattern is your choice. You can do under 2, over 3, whatever. I'm going to do under 2. And I need to pull these ends through. And then I think I'll go over just 1. But just kind of experiment with it and see what pattern you like. Something pretty. I'm going to continue this pattern all the way around the basket, going under 2, over 1, under 2, over 1. come over here and measure so I make sure I end my decorative part here where my natural is showing and continue the wrap down. And remember last week how we ended it, we do the same ending on this one. After we finish our handle, I need to clamp these out of the way, we're going to start our lashing and our rim. We need to come in here, go ahead and trim this off here. I want you to take this piece and we're going to place it inside the basket. Starting at the side, you're going to work this all the way around. There's a reason I'm starting this inside the basket is because I want to add some Scandi straw on the outside just to make it more decorative. This is a festive basket. Add it in here. We're going to do our overlap here. You won't have your handle wrap in the way like mine is because you'll have completed yours. And clamp it down there. This is Scandi straw, and you can buy it in a package about 12 feet. It's very inexpensive. I'm going to lay this one on here and work it around. On this basket over here, I put the points going down. Just to be different, I'm going to put the points going up on this one. Overlap it a couple of inches, simply cut it off. Then I'm going to take caning. The caning is shiny like the straw is here. I think it'll look real pretty on the outer rim of this basket. Put a point on it. We'll quickly go over how to do the lashing. Remember, you come up from the bottom between your spokes about 5 or 6 inches and go to the outside. You'll be between the straw now. Go back into the inside between your weavers, between your spokes, and do this one more time. Bring it to the from the bottom up to the outside and put it down, leave the tail there, bring this end around and keep on lashing right around the basket. We'll go ahead and do one here for you. I have a tangled up end here. You'll need a long piece because we're going to go around the basket. Don't forget to X your handles when you come to your handles, making the X on the outside. I always go ahead and start my next piece over so I don't have to straighten this out each time. Whoops! Excuse me, my screwdriver flipped on me. And start it in there, come back and pull the original piece, working your way around the basket. I know this is a length to work with and it will tangle on you. Just take a minute to untangle it. Mine is really tangling on me. That's because I'm trying to hurry and do it quickly so I can show you more. Anyway, continue around the basket. Yours won't be so tangled. You end it the very same way you started it. But now I want to take a minute and I want to show you how to create a pattern up here in the top. It's very easy to do. I'm going to take this piece here. This happens to be, let me take this one here. This will fit in much nicer for you. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add some colored pieces. Cut this off about here. You use your imagination. You can just create anything in here. Tuck this piece under and tuck it under here. Then come in here. Let's go a little bit longer on this one. Let's bring this one over here. Let it rest right on top of the weaver. I'm going to tuck it clear over here on the corner. Bring it over here. That means I have to tuck it on this corner to match it. I'm going to cut it off so I don't have to work with that length and work in this piece under here. Add more colors if you like. There's just 1,000 ways to do this. Makes your basket very individual, very yours. And hook that end under there. You can go ahead and I'd probably add another piece here. Just going over the one. And I'd probably work this pattern all the way down. It's your option if you want to do the pattern on the other side of the basket or not. It certainly wouldn't have to be. Let's shortchange this one and make this one a little bit shorter. Again, just working it underneath your spokes, right on top of the weaver that's already there. Tucking it and be sure to hide that end underneath your weaver there. Go ahead and just work out a pattern. On this one, I didn't use the Scandi straw on it. I just put the two sides on it like we normally have been doing. Worked a pattern and increased the pattern down here. Can you see it in there? Different ways to do a basket. Let your imagination go. Here, the handle up here, I did over 3, under 3, gave it a different look. There's just 1,000 ways you can keep developing your baskets and make each one individual and each one yours. I've really enjoyed being with you this last 13 weeks. Thank you for allowing me in your homes.